morning. Welcome back to Daybreak on this 18th day of January 2022. It's now 7:15 a.m. and it's time to focus on the latest in the world of politics and other matters affecting the country. To introduce the panelists this morning, we have Beatrice Zalachi, who is the CS at the Public Service Ministry. Good morning and Happy New Year.
Morning. Happy New Year.
Good to see you here. Senator Cleopas Malala. Should I add the other names? Kiprotich?
Good morning.
Good morning, Senator of Kakamega. And I have Edin Sifuna, the Secretary General of ODM. Good morning and welcome back.
Good morning, sir.
Great. And it's time to look at the latest. If you look at the latest in the dailies, you see Ruto, Raila in fierce battle for governors. Show of might, the nation is reporting 30 county chiefs throw their weight behind Odinga's ODM lead and Deputy President William Ruto. The regional networks and financial muscle critical for oiling the grueling campaign. You see the reporting on pages 4 to 5. There's a similar story on the Standard, but this time round, theirs has battle for governors as 25 back Raila's bid. The story continues on page 4 that you see the governors have been listed there, being the governors all the way from Hassan Joho of Mombasa down to Dado Godana Tana River, and there are some 3 governors that are quoted to have sent apologies. That is Alfred Motu of Machakos, Kireto Murungi of Meru, and John Lonyanga Puo of West Pokot. Of course, we'll be talking about this later on what this strategy is for the presidential hopefuls in the August 2022 election. But then again, there's the BBI appeal puts judges in spotlight. The BBI hearing begins today, goes all the way to Thursday. The judiciary had presented a proposal to task force on law review. Now Supreme Court starts hearing case challenging the team's final report. Of course, we'll be hearing from the parties to that matter later on this morning. So many other stories making headlines on the different dailies. But I want us to begin by what just happened on Sunday, that we saw the chaotic scenes of Embakasi East constituency, where Deputy President William Ruto was hosting a political meeting, and there's been so much reaction. We'll shortly be listening to what some leaders have been speaking about the situation in Embakasi. But let me begin with you, Honorable Beatrice Zalachi, because your political base appears to be in Nairobi. Why are you smiling? Because I'm sure you've been able to see the clips and also understand the Nairobi politics. What exactly is happening? Because it's been a blame game between the side of Deputy President William Ruto and that of Raila Odinga, each saying that the other was responsible. What's happening?
Allow me not to now go to the side of the Prime Minister or the Deputy President. Allow me to speak about the politics of Nairobi, of Eastlands. Eastlands is a very interesting area and with a lot of dynamics in terms of their politics. One of the things they will always challenge is when you are a politician and you try to bring other young people from other areas to join into their areas. You will find them being very vicious. At that time, they will even ask you, you will even leave your border there. And so when you enter into Eastlands, first of all, we have to understand there's a lot that happens in terms of, let's say, for example, we are going to Dandora. That is Embakasi North. There is Dandora 1, we have their young people there. There is Dandora 2, we have their young people there. And they become very, very aggressive when they realize, oh, so you're coming to Dandora 2 with your boys, and you think, who are we? You need to, first of all, they always appreciate that before you go there for a meeting, have a meeting with them. Tell them that you will be coming. By the way, that's their chairmans are there. And they will now listen and they will tell you, we will protect you. It's not just there. Even in TJ's Kajwang's constituency, Ruaraka, if you go and you go with no plan, you will come out with nothing. I remember one time, yes, I want to know. What does
nothing mean?
Nothing means you can come out even you have left everything. I am being very honest this morning. And so it is a culture that you cannot start blaming each other. It's a culture we need to ask ourselves, how do we harness this strength, this productive group that is very, very protective of their areas also. I remember one time going for a training at that time a trainee when Elizabeth Ongoro was a minister, and she was an MP of Nairobi. She sent me there to train. But then I was told, even if you're training the women, we are here young people, and even in everywhere. When you train, even when you call for a meeting of women, they will come. And you have to deal with them. So the best thing is, first of all, can you have a conversation with them? Imagine if you have a conversation, you'll have your meeting. But if you just come in and you think, I am walking in, and they will do everything to make sure you listen to them. So one way of them telling you to listen to them is either they will become rowdy, but if you are a leader who can just pull them fast and tell them we have come for a meeting and we are going to do this meeting.
Right.
And then the thing they will tell you, if you are able to bring boys from the other areas, it means you have paid them. What about us? So you give us something. That is another fight you'll have with them. So that is Eastlands. The whole of Eastlands is like that, by the way. So it's not about even if I go there, even when I'm going for Matanga, I'll always call and say, I'm coming for Matanga. Who is the chairman? Chairman, please deal with your boys, and you'll have no issue. So it's a matter of how you understand the dynamics of that.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah.
I feel sorry,
but I'm being very honest.
I feel sorry for. There's someone in studio who wants to be Senator of Nairobi. I know. We'll do that. You tell us about that.
To embrace himself, and he needs to understand the dynamics. And by the way, politics of East and the politics of the Western side is so different.
Okay, let's listen to some leaders who spoke about this, including Maina Kamanda.
Kwanza Nairobi anafikiria kuna vile anaweza kuchukua Nairobi. Ana siasa fulani anataka, kama wakati alitembea Nairobi juzi, Isili na kila mahali, hakufurugwa na mtu. Na hakufurahia hiyo. Kwa sababu angetaka Nairobi afurugwe. Ndio isemekane ni kina Kamanda under instruction of Baba ndio wamefanya hiyo kazi. Wakati hakufurugwa, sasa akaenda kwa plan B. Waende Jakaranda na wapange watu yao, wafuruge mkutano, waseme ni Babu Owino na watu wengine.
All right, that's Maina Kamanda. He's a nominated member of parliament under Jubilee, but the UDA party has also responded to what is going on, because we've had the deputy president saying that he is accusing Raila Odinga. We've also seen a statement from Raila Odinga's secretariat and another one from the SG of ODM, who is in studio. But let's first look at what UDA is saying in a statement they released yesterday. They're saying investigations must be concluded and perpetrators of these acts of intolerance brought to book. Then again, they are saying that Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, who has publicly supported Mr. Raila Odinga's quest for presidency, should drop his political heart and act to save Kenyans from his political master's crusade for violence. And we equally call upon the IEBC to rein in on political players who are not committed to peaceful campaigns. That's a joint statement of Johnston Muthama and Veronica Maina, the Secretary General. I'll come to you, Senator Malala, but let me begin with SG Sifuna here, because he's been part of those trading accusations between the side of Raila Odinga and the side of Deputy President William Ruto. And given the context of what Honorable Elachi has given us here, so then who is responsible for the violence that was at Embakasi, and why all this trading of barbs?
First of all, Sam, let me calm my sister Elachi's fears, because as you know, I have run for Senate in Nairobi before, last time during the 2017 election, and we walked the length and breadth of this county. So that there should be no fears as to how well I will do. In fact, most of these young people that she was talking about are people that I am very well acquainted with. There is a context and a background to why some of these things are happening. By everybody's account, we know that we have had a very difficult 2 years. Nairobi suffers the brunt of all the ills that befall our country. Whether you're talking about cost of living or even the question of unemployment. The largest population of urban youth who don't have employment are actually here in Nairobi. It is incumbent upon us as leaders to be able to look at how we can be able to assuage this situation, because we cannot just blame the young people for trying to look for something to eat. And I just want to reinforce the point that she was making. In fact, I also have my own networks in Embakasi East constituency. And the feedback that we're getting, Sam, is that these young people were very upset that in fact people were being transported into their areas and being paid to do so, yet in their own language. Pia sisi tuko na tumbo. I mean, they don't understand why. If people have to attend a rally in their own area, they cannot be the ones to be.
So saying those people that attended the rally are not residents?
That is the information that we're getting, because as I told you, I also have my own networks. On the question of who is responsible, Sam, I don't think that I have the capacity to be able to determine that. But this is our guess, and we have joined hands with our colleagues from UDA in calling for investigations. But I want to give you context as to why UDA have been very desperate in the past few weeks to be able to bring everybody into this murky world of political violence. You will remember that UDA have dug themselves into some sort of grave with their Madoadoa comment in Eldoret. And there is a sort of desperation for them to try and paint everybody with that same bloody brush. You will understand, Sam, that this has happened before. You remember during the DP's tour of Nyanza at some point, just like the point that Commander was making there, that in fact the DP toured the entire Nyanza region without any problems until he ran into that question of handouts for youth at Kondele, and it became a problem for him. And he was very quick again to blame ODM for it. And when the police actually investigated and they put out a statement and said, yes, these young people were fighting about handouts. It was about you being able to sort out all the groups that are there. Now, what usually baffles me as the SG of ODM is that this violence is not, you know, he has not met violence only in places that ODM controls. He, for instance, was stoned once in Nyeri. But in the Nyeri incident, the difference is that you didn't hear anybody calling for any political party to issue an apology. So in places where, like Nairobi now, everybody knows it's Raila's stronghold, if something happens here, immediately you hear people saying, oh, ODM must issue an apology. Who issued an apology in Nyeri? Why is there this mental balkanization of the country and saying, in certain areas, if something happens, so-and-so is responsible? We are dealing with an increasingly very desperate opponent. It is because some people have seen the supposed lead that they had in the political contest for 2022, all of it just being eroded. And they feel
How do you determine that?
No, subsequent poll after poll is showing us that in fact the support that the deputy president had across the country, because he was campaigning essentially alone, is on the downslide. So it is not something that I'm just saying. It is something that you can verify factually using the numbers that have been put out by the polls. So he must look at the mirror. The person responsible for his decline is his own person. So what we are saying is this: we welcome the investigations that UDA have called for, and I have no doubt, Sam, that at the end of those investigations, the police will reach the same conclusions that they reached in Kondele, in the fake assassination claims, in the fake abductions claims, because this UDA is not just a political party, it's a den of lies, because all they do is to spew lies and to come up with things that can whip up public emotion and sympathy. Look at the conduct of the members of parliament during the debate on the political party's amendment bill. You can imagine, Sam, we were having to every time to remind our members to remain focused and not to fall for the theatrics of UDA, because they were there to derail the debate, to ensure that Parliament adjourns, to ensure that there is no debate and there is no vote, to ensure that there is violence in the Houses of Parliament. And all we are saying, and especially to our supporters, we are dealing with now a desperate opponent, and we should not fall for any of their theatrics. We should not be dragged into any of their traps. Let everybody conduct politics in accordance with the law, and if indeed there are investigations that can... And by the way, if there is any evidence that Sifuna or Elachi or Babu or Raila Odinga, for instance, was involved in that violence, let them present that evidence to the police, and the police will take action.
Okay, I hear you, and it's important to state here that we made effort to reach to for representation from UDA. It wasn't possible up until late in the night, but all the same, the show continues. And Senator Malala, so now you obviously don't come from Nairobi, but you've been able to watch what's going on in the city. What do you make of it? And at a time that we're just over 6 months to the election, we're just starting the sort of political campaigns, but then such ugly scenes are happening. What must we do to stop this?
First of all, I must say that was an unfortunate incident, and I wouldn't want to apportion blame to any of the political parties or entities that were there that day, because where I sit, I come from a background of peace. Our party promotes peace from its name, is Amani, and therefore we would want first from the onset to condemn whoever did that. I think it resurrects the bitter memories of the 2007 chaos in this country, and you remember what that chaos cost to this country. We wouldn't want to travel back and go to that point. That said and done, I would want to say that I think the law enforcers have got a lot to do when it comes to enforcing the law. We've seen people who are supposed to be protecting the Constitution, people who are supposed to be protecting the citizenry of this country, taking sides in the political arrangements. The CS and the PS of Interior have, in daylight, taken sides in the political arrangements in this country, and we want to say that that is the beginning of all this chaos. And it feels very bad when I hear from my brother Sifuna and
Wait a minute. What's the relationship between CS Matiang'i's public utterances and the insecurity or the political violence that you're seeing?
You know, CS Matiang'i is the one in charge of security.
Right.
He's the one who deploys police. He's the one who is in charge of the policy making of the entire security force. And therefore, if you already take sides, if you already say that I'm supporting this particular candidate for the upcoming presidential contest, then you are basically saying that you will maybe advise the police to favor this particular candidate against these other particular candidates.
Do you think that would happen, or it's a perception
think when
question?
you are the cabinet secretary for Interior, you are supposed to be impartial. You are supposed to be neutral. You're supposed to be apolitical. You're not supposed to take sides, especially when it comes to such a divisive political contest. And therefore, I will be calling for him to rise above and rise to the occasion to ensure that he becomes impartial in dispensing his duties. That said and done, this issue of the youth being given certain territories to man and them demanding for handouts, of demanding for certain levies before you get into their territories. I think, yes, it is a political reality, but we should discourage such kind of arrangement, because when we decide that now Kakamega will be a no-go zone for, say, PNU party, or Bungoma will be a no-go zone for a certain party, we shall be segmenting this country into war zones. And therefore, we should not tolerate such thinking. We want to ensure that our youth look at our country as Kenya. When I go to Eastlands, I want to be treated as a Kenyan. I don't want to be treated as a visitor. When you talk about leaders coming in and giving out handouts to the young people, I think that is a culture that we should discourage. When we go to political rallies, we don't go to political rallies to give out handouts. We go to political rallies to ensure that we sell our manifestos, and therefore it is incumbent upon us leaders, and especially us young leaders, to talk to these young people and tell them, come on, let us not disrupt any political gathering. You remember, and I was with my brother Edwin Sifuna when we were going to Uhuru Park, and when we were doing the NASA demonstrations. We lost most of our youth. Most of our youth lost their lives. Others were permanently injured. But now life is moving on. Look at the principles we were fighting for. They are comfortable in their political lives and in their day-to-day living. And therefore, it is not worth, and I want to speak to the young people of this country, it is not worth to cause chaos. Because if you go to disrupt somebody's political gathering and you are shot or you are injured, who will take care of your wife? Who will take care of your children? And therefore, I would like to call upon my brother Sifuna and my sister here, let us talk to these young people. Let us show them the political reality, and let us be good role models to these young people and tell them, come on, in as much as this is a political reality, but come on, is it possible we now change our way of thinking about?
All right.
I'm in shock. I'm sure your viewers are also in shock.
Because
if this is the same Malala that is here now pontificating about being role models as young leaders and telling us that you cannot zone the country. You are the one who was telling us just 3 weeks ago that Kakamega is your bedroom, that we cannot hold a rally there. It is people like you, Malala, who are the problem in our politics. If you look at this panel here, Sam, there's only one person here who's facing charges for violence related to politics. He was charged out of the violence that he perpetrated with his goons from Amalemba in the by-election in Matungu. When you talk about not zoning and using this language of bedrooms, and you are the one who was telling us that we can't come to Kakamega, Malala, and yet you are here telling people that we must be people who wear one shade of color. Please, that's somebody,
I give you the right of reply.
Yes. When we speak about bedrooms, Sifuna, I'm not the first person who spoke about bedrooms.
Yeah, but you don't see me pontificating. You don't see me pontificating.
I was with you in Kibra.
Acting like I was with you in
Kibra when you're saying that.
You've made your accusation. Let him.
It's not an accusation. These are things you have on record. It is 18 days ago. Malala was telling us we can't go to Kakamega or he'll finish us.
That's why. Let him respond.
I want my brother Sifuna to conceptualize and to understand deeply. When we speak, sometimes we speak figuratively. We speak with imagery language.
Yeah, that is the Madoado language that we don't want.
Is bedroom. And you see, when we say bedroom, it is the same bedroom that you have in Kibra.
You are not in
any position. It is a political bedroom whereby we are saying that these are our strongholds, but we are not saying that nobody should come in. We did not cause any chaos in Kakamega when you came to Buhungu. We left you to do your
rally. It is the language. It is the
language. I hear you, but Senator Malala, now that you're here and you agree that actually that happened, do you have any regrets over those sentiments that you made?
I do not have any regrets, because what I meant by saying that Kakamega is a political bedroom, I meant that this is our stronghold, and we shall do whatever we can to persuade our people to ensure that we protect our strongholds. The word bedroom was used in Kibra by the same Sifuna when we were campaigning for the by-election in Kibra. The word Madoadoa was used by Raila himself when he was saying that he wants a 6-piece model of voting for ODM, and therefore people should not profile people because of their current political inclination.
How far is that matter with the NCSC, Senator?
I have not been summoned by anybody. I have never been summoned by anybody. I see these things in social media. I have never been summoned. I have never appeared before NCIC because I said that was a fair statement.
Have you ever been invited to record a statement with the police?
Yes, I was invited to record a statement, and it was very clear, and the police understood that I meant that Kakamega is my political bedroom, and that's still the position.
And that
how is it your bedroom?
Further.
The governor of Kakamega is ODM.
You see, it depends.
It's not your bedroom. What you say, you know,
you are not elected as Senator
Nairobi, and everybody heard what he said. He said, this is our bedroom. Before you come in here, you must seek my permission. That is different from saying, that, no. In Kibra, everybody campaigned. Everybody campaigned in Kibra, and there was no. But we didn't tell anyone that
all right, SG Senator, I hear you.
You are not in any position to talk about
I hear you, but Honorable Beatrice Zelach, because...
Don't have selective thinking.
I think what we are saying is that in 2022, let us now try and just agree that there are some certain words we just need to leave for now, for 2022, for the purpose of the country. And the most important thing is even this thing of saying Matiang'i has to be more and bring security. Let me tell you, Kenyans, you see, the problem we have is we want to use words that we know realistically. Those words don't work. Within even that disciplinary forces, you want to tell me they don't have feelings? You want to tell me they don't have those who they like and they don't like? They do, but they are quiet. So it depends.
Matiang'i is not quiet.
Wait first. Matiang'i will be somewhere else, but the policeman who would be in Embakasi or who will be somewhere else will not be Matiang'i. And so we cannot, even if he gives, I think it is time for us, and politicians must accept all these challenges we are facing, we created them. Let's not run away from the problem again. We are the ones we can solve the problem of young people.
How did you create them?
We created them because we like, these are my boys. this is my jeshi, this is, we use those words. And all of us, none of them should run away from that. No, no, no. That's why Balala will say that is his bedroom in Kakamega. How is it his bedroom? Because he knows he has boys who can use to be beating the other ones. So let us not lie here at we don't have, we have. What we are saying, go back to your youth, speak to them. Let them have tolerance.
Okay.
Let us see everyone just go where they are going and have campaigns. And let us not do double standards. Let us agree. And when a mistake happens, politicians, let us not come again on the media. We are the ones now summoning. Yet, we know what we have done. Each group has. Let's not run away from that. I think I saw it myself when I was vying in 2017. Wasn't I, today I'll meet these young people, but I reached a point I said, you know, as a woman, can you start embracing these young people, whether they are for Simba, whether, talk to them. And that enabled me to just campaign in Dagoretti North.
All right.
So, I've said what? I didn't say it in a bad way. I said, so you are going into a constituency. Don't you think, you're a guest, don't you think it is fair to talk to those people, have a meeting with them, and just tell them, I'll be coming to visit you on this day? They will welcome you. But there's no way you can just think,
so we also expect that when Sifuna comes to Kakamega,
that sounds...
to me.
No, not for you. He has to go and talk to the leaders of...
My mother comes from Kakamega. Why am I talking?
That logic will not
just
work.
No, to the leaders, all of you.
Senator,
we don't have to talk to the people we perceive to be the owners of that place. This is Kenya.
No. Let me tell you one thing.
But Honorable Elachi, I hear you.
Listen first. Just hold on. You see, when we created this constitution, and we agreed we have devolution, and we have counties. So you want to tell me, in that county, you can never respect anyone in that county? You'll just be walking in, walking. That is one thing Kiraito asked. And people thought Kiraito was being protective. No, we are not saying don't come there and do it. But there's just that respect, because that, when you talk about that security, that county has to ensure you have that security. But so from the county commissioner, from the governor, whether he is supporting you or not, I think there's a way they will tell you. And by the way, let us not lie that we are not given the security briefings. You are told very well, as you go, this has been planned, learn how to follow this and this. But sometimes you refuse to just follow
There's something you said, just hold on, Senator, and you need to take a short break. There's something you've said that these vijana, they'll always be there, and you need to talk to them so that, does then that...
It means we have not given them employment. That is why they are doing another different employment.
Is that free and fair election if the campaigns are anything to go by?
It is free and fair.
Shouldn't any politician be free to visit any area, speak to the people?
So, will you just walk in and speak? Who are you speaking to?
The people.
Don't you think you have a team that organizes for you? Surely.
Mobilization.
And it is in the Elections Act. You are allowed to mobilize. Okay. You are allowed to pay logistics, by the way, transport. It is there in the law. So you are not giving them handouts. But if you have called them, then you need to know how they will go back home.
I think what my two colleagues here are suffering from is selective amnesia, whereby they want to apply, like she's saying that when we go to Eastlands, we should talk to those boys. But
not the boys, they are youth.
Yes, exactly.
They are not boys.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
They are youth.
That's fine.
And every day, every politician is saying, youth, we are about to create employment, so which youth are you talking about?
But that is very saddening.
Is it that same youth?
Allow Senator to finish.
That is very saddening, especially when it comes from a government official, a CAS. Because
what is saddening?
It's very saddening to say that we should be paying youth to enter certain political
You are not paying them.
We should consult youth. We need to operate within the limits of our constitution. The constitution is very clear when it says that when you want to go to a place, you notify the security agencies.
Yes.
To give them notice.
Yes.
It does not say that you notify those informal groupings.
No, I have said
the same is applied.
Senator Honorable Elachi, no, just hold on. Honorable Elachi, please.
First of all, don't you feel that county has a security structure? Don't you imagine first point of entry is the security team will give you.
All right.
And tell you.
Honorable Elachi,
yes.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And we may not agree on this point at this point in time. So we take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about more on that, but also what is within One Kenya Alliance's strategy. We have one of the very vocal senators from that alliance. We'll talk to him about that.